Hello, hello. Happy Monday. I hope for all the moms, stepmoms, aunt moms, grandmoms, godmoms, friend moms, all the moms out there, that you all had a great weekend doing whatever it is that you wanted to do. My kids and I pulled them out of the house to take them strawberry picking, and it was windy and cold and also so delightfully wonderful. And the strawberries are just so deliciously sugary at the moment. So happy belated Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And happy week after Teacher Appreciation Week. I hope you were showered with amazing cards and gifts and notes of appreciation for all that you do every day. And I hope you continue to be showered with notes and appreciations and all of the things every single day going forward. I'm glad we have a week to celebrate it last week, but man, this is a all hours of the day, days of the week type of profession that we have entered, and it takes a lot, and you are juggling so many things, and I'm just so deeply appreciative of it. All of us here at DataSpire are so deeply appreciated and inspired by all that you bring to it, to your profession, to your school, to your district, and most importantly, to your students. So thank you for the service that you give every day, for getting up and continuing to fight the good fight and keep working on it to educate your students. I figured we could talk a little bit about data readers and communicators and what does that even mean and what's involved and all of those different things. Because as we're helping our students build out their data abilities, their abilities to work with data, make sense of data, especially in our science and social studies classrooms, where we are using that data for a purpose, when we are in our statistics classes, our data science classes, things like that, where we need to be doing something with the data. There's a reason we're looking at the data. It's really important to identify, what are the different skill sets and what are different skill sets that different people need in our society. Not all of us are going to go on to become professional data scientists. Not all of us are going to go on to do data analytics in our career or for our career. But all of us need to have the ability to make sense of and understand and think critically and rationally about the data that we are being presented with. And for those that have been following along or have already subscribed to our YouTube channel, you might have seen our previous data bite of Annika Wolf's amazing work that she is doing. Sorry, I was trying to add something to the stage to show you what's going on, and by stage, I mean, I wanted to share this webpage with you where I talk through Annika's great work of thinking about who are our data literate citizens, what kind of skills do different citizens need in our collective society so that we can all work with data. And these first two pieces, I think, are really key. And these are numbered in numerical order, but they are not necessarily you have to be one to be the other, or that we're all in this trajectory, as I was saying. But let me just pause and just step back a little bit and say, almost all of our students, in fact, I might even venture to make a declarative statement that every single one of our students graduating from the K-12 system absolutely needs to be a confident data reader. They need the skills to be able to interpret, think about, critically evaluate, rationally understand, logically understand what is being presented to them in the data. That's coming through their social media feeds, that's coming through news, that's coming in their electricity bills, that's showing up on election maps, all of the different things. So we all need a baseline understanding of how to read data. And many of us likely need the skills or abilities to be able to communicate with those data, because we, in fact, are getting bombarded with communication from data all around us. Data more and more, these visualizations are popping up more and more as a way to kind of buoy or provide evidence of an argument. And that evidence often is hard evidence. We're looking at good data, but it's always a sample. And sometimes that evidence is starting to be slightly massaged or adjusted to fulfill the claim that somebody's trying to make from the data. And it is easy for us all to fall into this trap. It is easy to make charts lie to support the argument that you want to make. But even more of a critical reason why we need to help our students when they're in this K-12 space understand what goes into communicating with data, understand how to tell various different stories from a data set, and that multiple stories can be told from the same data set. And this is not something that just stops in the K-12 space. So there is this incredible thing that happens every week with professionals across the world called Tidy Tuesday, where they come together. It's a weekly data project that people just voluntarily participate in. This is so awesome. This is something that we can absolutely bring into our high school spaces if you are teaching data science, data visualization, and sort of bringing those pieces in, media literacy, into an upper high school level course, computer science, coding, programming. Check out Tidy Tuesday. This could be a great opportunity for your students to get involved in. But this is the shtick with Tidy Tuesday. As I said, these are professionals who jump in every week, and the data get posted on Monday. People have access. The first thing they do is explore the data. Yay, we love it here at DataSpire. And then create a data visualization from the data set. And then share your output and the code you use to generate it, right? Share your story, share what you are finding, share what you are exploring in the data. This comes back to how do we both build our students, right? Their ability to read these visualizations that are coming out and their ability to communicate and understand the communication process. And I just share this Tidy Tuesday as an example of and this doesn't stop. This is really authentic. This is not something we only do for our K-12 students just so they understand this arbitrary thing. This is reality. This is what professionals who work with data all day, every day are doing. This is their process. And Tidy Tuesday is just a really fun way that you can look into it. This past week, they dove in to, let's pull it up. What did they do last week? We're in 2025. They were down here. They were looking at the National Science Foundation grant terminations under the Trump administration. The data set was put out by GrantWatch, and it is just an incredible array of different data visualizations that folks have put together. They've practiced their data visualization skills, and then they have shared them out. So for our students, we need to be able to both read this visualization that is coming through potentially on their feeds, and also sort of how do we think about the communication that is happening on any one visualization. How do we either tell a story about the research grants cut short so far through the National Science Foundation? How do we tell this in depth, second step of the story of they were cut short and how much more time they had to go on that research grant, and therefore that research has come to a screeching halt? Or how do we tell a story about how that is fared across sort of our STEM education versus our other science directorates in terms of the number of grants that have been cut short? These are all different components that feed into how do we read and build the skills to read our visualizations, and how do we tell stories either ourselves from our own data sets we're working with, our own data visualizations, or how do we take in stories that someone else is telling us about their exploration through the data, or tell stories from the data visualizations they put together. These are all key components. And in this resource, what I'm showcasing is this blog post that we put together a couple of years ago about sort of creating data readers and communicators. I highly encourage you to check it out, take a look, see sort of, are there any tips and strategies that you can pull from and use? Yes, it was back in the pandemic. So the examples are in the pandemic, but I was just showcasing you, our visualizations are coming out all the time. And if you teach one of those upper level high school classes, check out Tidy Tuesday. Super awesome. Until then, keep exploring, stay curious about your data, and help your students become better, stronger data readers and communicators. See you next week. Bye all.